The bird with the crystal plumage. That's right, folks. Let's go back to some classic cinema of the 70s with a legendary filmmaker, Dario Argento. I don't think we've talked about him yet. Just one of those guys that made some really interesting movies that people are still talking about and referencing. Very prominent filmmaker, very interesting filmmaker of that giallo new wave of Italian horror stuff. Pretty exciting. I don't know, it's kind of cool. I'll be honest, this type of cinema is kind of like a weak spot for me. I'm always curious about it though, because I think a lot of like the new restorations that come from these companies. I got the Arrow video release of this film. They look really good and show you like the beauty that comes from this type of movie and from this filmmaker. So this one, I got the disc on sale and I was like, I just want to see what this is about. Didn't know if I was going to talk about it, but man, it just really surprised me and impressed me. It just looked so beautiful. The colors in particular, and again, this is a restored version of the actual print, but they just pop. Like everything's so beautiful and just vibrant and has like a really interesting feel to it. The colors are just so gorgeous, especially like because it's talking about this like art and it's about like an artist and stuff. Things just look very sharp. Also a very weird score. It's a Morricone score. And it's just so like la 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 la. And I'm like, I wasn't expecting that to be the case for this movie about a serial killer that's killing women or something. Very strange in that aspect. And when you go into these things, you don't know what to expect. The base premise of like it's a horror movie, a slasher film kind of, that can draw you in. This type of movie lends itself to the quick cuts flashing away from the actual violence, and it just looks so gorgeous in this aesthetic. I'm very, very pleased with everything I saw in this movie. You've probably seen it, right? This is a popular one. I know a lot of people are fans of Argento's work. I know some of it's Suspiria, obviously being the main one. But this was so cool. And it's just straight up my type of movie. It's about an American writer in a foreign land, because of course it is. You always got to have one of those guys. His publicist said, take a vacation. Try to come up with like a new idea when you're in Italy. So he's over there. And he's like, he knows like a guy who's really into birds, which was amazing. Birds freak me out a lot. I don't know if we talked about this because we haven't talked about a lot of bird movies. I don't like birds. They're not a thing I enjoy. So when like the start of this movie has two men walking through a room full of stuffed birds of all different classes, it made me go, ugh, look at these ugly creatures I don't want to be around. And a bird is like the main plot point of this movie. This guy's named Sam. He's an American writer. Got writer's block. Doesn't really want to come up with anything. He's just kind of like living in like an old abandoned building with his girlfriend. They want to kiss each other all the time. But one night when he's walking home, he's going by this art studio and he sees these two people and it looks like they're fighting. And a woman who's involved in this like scrap gets stabbed and she falls down some stairs. And he's like, oh my God, I'm witnessing a murder. So he tries to run inside, but the building's got like some weird door locks and he's trapped between two kind of like entrances made of glass and the door won't open. So he's watching this woman bleed out in front of him. It is maybe one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen on film. Like that sequence is so well handled, and it has to be because we have to be so specific in the details in this sequence and refer to it back the whole time. It's really white, a very bright and colorless room because it's like an art exhibit. So like the actual colors of this woman named Monica when she's like in the red and the blood's dripping everywhere. Just red is the theme for her because she's red-haired. She's covered in blood. And you can't help her. You're just helpless to watch this person as they're dying. And finally someone manages to call the cops so like we can save her life. It's very compelling and it looks so cool. And that's just like the camera work. And that's like the style of filmmaking. It's very giallo. It's very of this era. Let's just move the camera to and from different places. It's very counterculture to the stuff from the studio system from the years prior. Just get up close, get in your face. We'll just like zoom in on the knife as it's stabbing something. Just show you the details you need to remember as opposed to having everything in frame. It's really cool. It looks so good and it's just very vibrant. And this introduces us to Inspector Morosini, who's going to be like a supporting character through this. He shows up in a trench coat and fedora and he's just like, You got to tell me what happened here, boy. Like, something's going on here. You want to head back to America in the next couple days. I'm going to detain you and take your passport so you can't leave until we solve this case. Because what you don't know is that there's a string of murders taking place, and these women are all being killed by something in the same fashion that this Monaco has attempted to die in. So, why don't you stick around, give me the information, maybe you can help me solve the case. So cool. Like, not expecting this to be about solving a crime. So well handled. I really dig it. The forensics analysis, and I'm sure this is just of the time because this is a 70s movie. It was so insane to see that. Just big rooms of big tape recorders and stupid, like, reels of film and everything. And they're just analyzing stuff in a way I can't understand. I don't understand how you have, like, these big towers that are recording everything, and somehow that gives you the information you need. I don't understand how that works. But it did, and that's what the movie accomplished. Beyond my understanding. So now Sam is kind of like caught up in this situation because he was there to witness his attempted murder. Somebody is going to try to kill him. So he becomes a target. He's walking down the street another day. Someone's following him. An old lady notices this and stops him from being attacked. He tells his girlfriend about this, and now his girlfriend is also a victim in this circumstance. So they're trying to not be killed while Sam gets really interested in the murder. Like, it's such an interesting thing. And I know, like, we live in an era where, like, murder podcasts and serial killer stories are so prominent and stuff. Why is that the case? Why are we so fascinated with, like, stories of people who kill people? Like, even Sam in this movie is, like, 55 years old. He is very invested in solving this crime. He's like, I want to know the painter who did this to the one lady. So he goes to, like, the shop where this girl bought the painting. He sees, like, a proof of it. It looks like a depiction of a murder. He wants to know who painted that. He wants to get information on the other girls. This is all so insane because I thought we were just seeing, like, a slasher film. And yes, there are sequences where we cut to, like, the silhouetted figure of a trench coat killing innocent women. But the other part of this movie is just, like, a bunch of character actors doing, like, one scene of insane stuff. We got so many random guys in here that just feel so good. Like the art shop owner who's just like this weird guy who's like, ooh, yes, I do have the print of that. Weird little guy. I dig it so much. There's the ex-boyfriend to one of like the deceased ladies who was framed for the murder, and he's in prison. And what do they call? They call him So Long because he's got a stutter. And you're just like, this is such a random looking guy, but he's so cool. He's so fun and interesting. He leads Sam to find this other guy who, like, he knows everything on the streets. I forget his name. And he's just, like, this really random guy who just, like, talks and, like, I don't know nothing. Here's what I know. You know, just, like, plausible deniability the whole time. You could be recording this. Let's talk in whispers and we'll get it all figured out. One of those types. Just random guys that really fill out this world. And that's just the thing you love to see. This character actors and these random people just shining for a minute, because we got a classically handsome American lead in Sam. He's got a beautiful blonde girlfriend. We got a, like, down on his luck police investigator. We need these random people to fill out this world. We do cut back to Monica a few times, and we meet her husband, who's just this kind of, he's clearly a dickhead. You know? The movie does a really good job of making you go, oh, so her husband's the one that tried to kill her. And he's clearly the bad guy. He's the killer doing all this stuff. We'll come back to that in a minute here. I think it's really smart how it handles that. But it just keeps going on this, like, really interesting spiral of this guy trying to figure out all this information. They do some Zodiac stuff where people are getting calls on the phone like, you'll never find me. You're not good enough there, investigator. You're terrible at this, Sam. You'll never figure me out. Ha ha ha. And they record one of the calls that Sam gets, and there's like some weird noise happening in the background, and no one can figure out what that noise is. They have their lead investigators on like the forensic side of the police trying to figure it out. They don't know what it is. But don't forget, he's friends with a bird guy. So the bird guy listens to it, and he's like, that sounds like a rare bird we have at the zoo. So then they go to the zoo. And I'm like, hey, cool. The sound is from a bird. I don't know the name of the bird. It's a weird looking bird. But that is it. And they're like, up there in the apartment there. That's where the guy is. And we go there, and it's Monica and her husband is trying to attack her, and then the police like fight him, and then he falls off a building and confesses to all the murders. It's beautiful. Like, it is so beautifully handled, and it's so low budget, but just a stylized version where it doesn't feel cheap. It's so beautiful and breathtaking. The cuts are really important to this movie too. The two things that really benefit this movie are the quick cuts from everything going on and the audio. There is some pretty rough ADR at times where it's clearly dubbed over later, but the other audio, like in the forensics lab, all the screaming from everybody, the music from Morricone, it's all just adding to this level that makes it heightened in this like non-realistic way. I don't think this movie is like realistic because the police people are insane and the murders are insane and everyone's wearing like really nice clothing. And they're like there's a scene when Julia, who's Sam's girlfriend, like gets attacked like later on in the film. They're trying to break through the door and they got like a chisel and a hammer and they're like pounding it into the other thing. And it's just so long to get that door open and it's not working. And I'm like, this is not how you would do things. But that sequence is insane, where like Julia's just distraught in the building. She can't get out. There's a beautiful sequence where she tries to open a window that's like closed through like these doors, and then like it's barred up so she can't escape through the window. So she's just freaking out and crying and screaming. It's so well handled. It can easily fall into exploitation, like this type of story with these types of characters. But I don't think it does. Like, it feels very mature in how it's presenting this thing and how it's talking about these characters. So Monica's husband falls from the roof. No, it's a window, actually. I think it's a window. He confesses to the murders. He's not dead. He confesses to them. And everyone's like, well, the case is wrapped up. We solved everything. As that's going on, Julia is escorted away. So she's kind of like running down an alley where Sam wants to look for her, and we just kind of like continue the story. You think it's going to be over, like we solved it. The guy who clearly seemed like he was the bad guy is actually the bad guy. But like, no, that's not the case. We continue on with this story. It leads us to an abandoned warehouse or something where we meet the real killer, who is Monica. And that is the key detail that Sam didn't remember from the night he saw the attempted murder, is that it was actually Monica who was trying to kill her husband. And when she got stabbed instead, it just spiraled out of control from there, and he had to die because she knew he witnessed what she was trying to do. Didn't see that coming. Perfectly handled. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This guy was clearly set up to look like a dick from the beginning, but maybe he was actually innocent. It's really smart. Well handled in that aspect. I'm very impressed with how they did that. And that stupid bird, like, played a key detail. This is the sound of a bird. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Great title as well, the Bird of the Crystal Plumage. Oh, that just sounds so cool. Sounds so epic, you know? This is a really interesting movie. I love the way everybody looks. They just look like insane, beautiful people from the 70s. I love the tension of everything. The script is very much explaining what's happening, but because the style of the filmmaking is so beautiful and sweeping, you just support what the script is doing. Everyone's in really nice clothing. The colors just pop so much. It is such a good movie. It is so beautiful. And then la 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 is the score. And I'm like, yep, you do that. Let's do long tracking shots where we got a big crane zooming in on an apartment building. I'm here for it. And somehow a bird saves the day because we know what a bird sounds like. That's kind of cool. I think this movie is so captivating, so incredibly gorgeous. Well, I'm not very familiar with this style of movie. The tropes and the executions are stuff I know well. So I want to see more. We'll definitely be coming back to these types of films because just like the silent fanaticism of like, murders are happening around me and there's a connected story here. Oh my god, he meets like the weird painter of the painting who's like this recluse guy who's boarded up all his walls. And he's like, I can offer you like weird food to eat. I don't really get out much anymore. That guy is crazy. He looks insane. And it leads Sam to go, oh shit, I shouldn't leave people home alone because now my girlfriend's going to get attacked. It's amazing. And then, very end, let's just fly off to America. Beautiful sets, beautiful. Everything's beautiful. So well handled, and just talks about the fanaticism we have with serial killers and how seeing something violent in front of us is very, voyeuristic and makes us feel weird, but excited because everyone's kind of horny in this movie too. Oh, man. So that is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, our first Dario Argento. Thank you all for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.